Any soul can be made very close like a limb that is part by God, and this is the view of Ramanuja. All other ordinary souls are separate from God as servants from their master, as per the view of Madhva. Pada Namaskaram Swami. It is 6:30. We shall start the prayer.
श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे उन्मत्तनटनताण्डवं मत्ते भवदनभासुरं चित्ताब्जबोधभास्करम् आयत्तयोगराजितं विद्वेषनित्यपूजितम् उत्तानपाणिमुद्रितं श्रीकृत्तिवाससुतं कैलासदृशदिनर्तनं भक्तान्तरङ्गवर्तनं पापौघपाशकर्तनं श्रीपार्वतीसुतं भजे श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे लम्बोदराङ्गताण्डवं मुद्राकराब्जपण्डितं सर्वाङ्गनागमण्डनं वन्दे विनायकं पतिम् धिं धिम्मितकिटमर्दलं भं भं निनादशङ्खकम् आनन्दनृत्यतत्परं ध्यायामि प्रमथनायकम् आमोदकरमोदकं वेदान्तमतिमादकं दुष्कर्मफलसाधकं विघ्नेश्वरं गुरुं भजे श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे सृष्टिस्थितिलयकारणं मोक्षाख्यदैत्यमारणं संसारजलधितारणं स्तौमि प्रभो नरवारणं पञ्चास्यमादिदैवतं देवऋषिभिः समर्चितम् आलोकगलितसञ्चितं विघ्नाधिनाथमाश्रये श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे लोकैकपरमवैभवं लोकेश्वरादिसम्भवम् आलोकपरिहृतोद्भवम् आलोकये परं भवम् श्रीकृष्णकविनिवेदितैः श्लोकाख्यमोदकैरिमैः आनन्दगणपतिं पतिम् आराधयन्तु साधकाः श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे 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 श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे
Om.
परब्रह्मसमारम्भाम् श्रीदत्तात्रेयमध्यमाम् श्रीदत्तस्वामिपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् सर्वविश्वन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोलवेदशास्त्रायते ज्ञानसूर्यायते दत्तरूपायते श्रीवेणुगोपालकृष्णाय वन्दनम् श्रीवेणुगोपालकृष्णाय वन्दनम् श्रीवेणुगोपालकृष्णाय वन्दनम् गुरुदत्त श्रीदत्त प्रभुदत्त पाहि माम् विधिदत्त हरिदत्त हरदत्त रक्ष माम् पाहि मां दत्ता रक्ष मां दत्ता.
Namaskar, Swami.
Pada Namaskaram, Swamiji.
Namaste.
With salutations at the lotus feet of Shri Datta Swami, let us begin the Satsanga. We will be reading question answers. I offer this dedication at the lotus feet of Swamiji. From you alone is all knowledge sublime, and everything that's great and fine. All the ignorance and error are but mine, for I am just a soul, and you, the goal divine. Trusting your compassion benign, my errant service I yet consign to those holy lotus feet of thine, Shri Datta Swami, my Sadguru trine. So today we will go through the set of question answers dated March 19th, 2026. This is part of a Satsanga that happened during the Shri Satyanarayana Vratam. His Holiness Shri Datta Swami has conducted the worship of Shri Satyanarayana Swami as the priest on 19th March 2026 after the marriage of Dr. Geeta Lahari, who is a doctor at Yashoda Hospital, and Shri Vishnu, who is an IT professional. Many devotees attended the worship, and a few flashes of the spiritual knowledge that radiate from Swami's mouth are presented here. So the first question is, why is God called Satya Narayana instead of simply Narayana? Swami replied, the extra word Satya means the essence of Narayana. It means that the actual form of God Narayana, actual means Satya. The actual form of God Narayana or God Vishnu is the feminine Shakti. Satya Narayana means the true form. Satya means truth. So the true form of Narayana or God Vishnu is the feminine Shakti. This worship is recommended to be done at night and not during daytime, since the scripture says, take a bath in the evening and start the worship when night begins. Sayankale punasyatva yajed devam nishamukhe. This is in the first chapter, Reva Khanda, in the Skanda Puranam. Shakti, the divine mother, is worshipped at night, whereas Shiva, the divine father, is worshipped during daytime. This worship to be done in the night is again stressed in the first chapter. Yaje chaivam nishamukhe. So the essence of this whole thing is That Satya Narayana refers to the true form of God. And what is that true form of God? It is the feminine Shakti. Why so? Because this worship is conducted at night. And who is worshipped at night? It is the Divine Mother who is worshipped at night. During daytime, it is Lord Shiva who is worshipped. So since this worship is carried out at night, and that is very clear in the ritual, in the chapters that are read in the ritual, that this worship is to be conducted at night. So it means that the deity being worshipped is the Divine Mother, Shakti. But the name of this vratam or the name of this worship is Satyanarayana. So it means that Satyanarayana must be the Divine Mother herself. Now, one objection could come here. What is the proof of God Narayana being feminine? So here Swami says, the proof of God Shiva being the father and God Narayana being the mother is that God Narayana took a feminine form, that is Mohini, and married the masculine God Shiva to get a son called Shasta, who incarnated on earth as Manikantha or Ayyappa Swami. Uh, Goddess Mohini is an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu took that form during the time of the Amrita Manthan. The gods and the asuras, the devas and the asuras, the gods and demons, they churned the milk ocean in the upper world, and out of it came many things. And Amritam, or the divine nectar, was the final thing, that was the main goal for which they were doing this entire exercise. So when that Amritam was emerged, the asuras obviously wanted that because it is the drink of immortality. Upon consuming it, they would become immortal. So when that Amritam emerged, it had to be taken away from the asuras. The asuras were not supposed to be allowed to have that, because if they become immortal, then they will disturb the peace of the world. So it was supposed to be given only selectively. It was supposed to be given only to the devas, the good angels, and not given to the asuras. So obviously that was not such an easy job. So many things happened, and ultimately Lord Vishnu had to take the form of a divine feminine form, in which he, or rather she, goddess Mohini, she gave that Amritam only to the devas, and did not give it to the asuras. So with her beautiful form, she essentially tricked the asuras. And then Lord Shiva later married her. So he was the masculine entity and she was the feminine entity. So it, Lord Narayana or Lord Vishnu had taken that feminine incarnation, whereas Lord Shiva in that episode was the male. And they, as a result of that marriage, Shasta or Manikantha was born. He was on earth. He incarnated there. The son of Shiva and Mohini was born on earth. He incarnated on earth as Shasta. So he is in South India, they call it Ayyappa Swami. Now, the next question is, why is this worship so powerful? Swami replied, this worship is considered to be very powerful because all the administrative staff of the entire creation is invited and worshipped along with God Shri Satyanarayana Swami. In this divine administrative staff, there are three levels: the high, higher, and the highest. So if we start from the highest level, the staff at the highest level are called the five Lokapalakas, or the rulers of creation. And they are God Ganapati, God Brahma, God Vishnu, God Shiva, and Goddess Parvati or Shakti. Now here Swamiji makes a note. in this 5-member committee, or this 5-member highest level of administrative staff, females need not protest about the lack of 50% female representation, because God Vishnu as Mohini and God Shiva as Ardhanarishwara make the desired 50%. So how does that work? God Ganapati and God Brahma, they are males. God Vishnu had incarnated as Mohini, so he can be counted as female. God Shiva had shown his form as Ardhanarishwara. Ardhanarishwara means half of his one half was masculine, that is Shiva, and his other half was feminine, that is Shakti. So you can say that he is half feminine. So, and then Goddess Shakti, Goddess Parvati or Shakti is fully feminine. So Goddess Parvati, if you see here, Goddess Parvati is one female member. God Vishnu in the form of Mohini is the second female member. And Shiva as Ardhanarishwara is half a female member. So 2.5, 2.5. So 2.5, that is 50% representation is feminine. And 2.5 is masculine. How? Ganapati, Brahma, and half of Shiva. That is again 2.5, 50%. So 50% male, 50% female. So females need not worry. They need not demand that the 50% reservation for females clause has been violated. There is no violation. There is full 50% representation. So, like Swami mentioned, there are the 3 levels: high, higher, and highest. We've covered the highest level, which is the Pancha Lokapalakas, the 5 Lokapalakas, the 5 rulers of the entire creation. And then what about the next, the middle level, that is the higher level? So the staff at the higher level are the 9 planets, namely Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, Rahu, and Ketu. So here, when they are called planets, in an astrological sense, they are called planets. The word is graha. The graha, the word in Sanskrit, is translated as planet in English. Of course, we know that the sun is technically, from an astronomical point of view, the sun is not a planet, the sun is a star. A star is what emits light on its own due to a nuclear fusion reaction, and a planet is that which reflects its light. So the sun is a star, and Rahu and Ketu are actually not celestial bodies at all. They are, in some sense, they are called shadow planets, but essentially they are the intersections of the orbits of the sun and the moon. So they are called the lunar nodes, I'm sorry. But from an astrological point of view, all of them are called grahas, and that is why they have been translated as planets. So and then again, the physical planets, the physical sun, moon, star, and Mercury, Jupiter, and all that, they are not the administrative staff. It is their rulers who are angelic beings of very high order. They are called the grahas. They actually the ones to be worshipped. These grahas are to be worshipped, and they are essentially the administrative staff that control the fates of human beings, of all souls. It is not the inert planets made out of rock and soil and sand and something like that, which controls the fates of all of us. It is those angelic beings who are the rulers of those planets. They are the ones who control the fates of souls. So they are staff within the divine administration, and they belong to that middle level. There is the high, higher, and highest. So they belong to that middle level, higher. So the staff at the higher level are the 9 planets namely the Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, Rahu, and Ketu. Then the high level, that is the lowest among the three levels, the high level staff are the 8 rulers of the 8 directions. They are the Digpalakas, namely Indra, Agni, Yama, Nirruti, Varuna, Vayu, Kubera, and Ishana. So they are, if you start from the directions, there are 4 directions, 4 main directions, and then there are the sub directions also. So for example, you start from east, and if you turn towards the right, slightly towards the right at 45 degrees, then that is southeast. And then you go turn 45 degrees further to the right. So first is, let's say you're standing on the roof of your house, look towards east. If you turn 45 degrees to the right, you are facing southeast. That is the Agneya direction. And then you turn 45 degrees further to your right, then you are facing south. If you turn 45 degrees more, then you are southwest, and so on. So those are the 8 directions. So there are rulers of each of those 8 directions. The ruler of east is Indra. Then southeast is Agni. Then south is Yama. Then next is Nirruti. Then Varuna. Varuna is west. Vayu is northwest. And Kubera is north. And Ishana is northeast. And then you come back 360 degrees to east again. That is Indra. So there are these Ashtadigpalakas. They are the 8 rulers of the directions. So they form the high level staff. So we have high level, which is the Ashtadigpalakas. And then go one level up, you have the 9 planets. And then go one level up, you have the Panchalokapalakas. So this is the entire administrative staff of God. Now, when you invite a big director of a company or some very important person for dinner, he comes along with his entire staff. So in the Satyanarayana Puja, when you invite Lord Satyanarayana, you're inviting him along with all his administrative staff belonging to these 3 levels. So Swami says it is like a director invited for a dinner party along with all his office staff. Swami continues, he says, any devotee, either male or female, either single or married, either with spouse or without spouse, can do this worship on any day, irrespective of caste or gender or financial status. No astrologically auspicious day is required because the very worship of God is going to remove all the inauspicious effects. There is no need of any good day for doing the worship of God. Even if one is poor, he or she can do the worship in the simplest way with available items without any lavishness. God sees the sincerity in worship and not the lavishness. So this is also something very interesting about this vratam or this puja. And it is that there are no restrictions whatsoever. Anyone can do it. It is not that, because normally in our tradition, we find that certain forms of worship are to be conducted by males, certain forms are to be conducted only by females, certain forms of worship are to be conducted only by a married man. A person a man whose wife has died cannot conduct certain rituals. He requires his wife to be accompanying him. So there are so many restrictions, and then you are supposed to look for an auspicious date, a muhurtam, to conduct several rituals, and so on. So there are, according to tradition, there are so many restrictions for conducting different rituals and forms of worship. But with the Satyanarayana Vratam, particularly this puja, there are absolutely no restrictions like that. Anyone can do it. Basically, in order to worship God, that is what Swamiji is saying. Basically, for worshipping God, really no date or time or place needs to be seen, because God is the master of this entire creation. He is the creator of this entire world. He, by even the mere remembrance of God, everything can become auspicious. However, tradition has given certain protocols and certain uh, kind of restrictions. That is, one could understand them as useful in order to train the mind. But one should go beyond those traditions also after a certain level of maturity, when one understands that God is not bound by any of these things. All these restrictions and constraints may exist for us, but no constraints and restrictions exist for God. He is beyond everything. So that understanding is even more important than merely the following of traditions. Because God sees, once you realize this and you sincerely devote to Him, sincerely surrender to Him, that is what matters. He sees the sincerity in the worship. How genuine is your love for Him? That is what he sees. And to express genuine love, is a time and place and a procedure really required? We love our family members. Do we look for a time or a place or something like that? So if the mother loves the child says, "Mummy, I'm hungry." Does the mother say, "No, no, wait a minute, I have to first consult the astrologer and I will look for an appropriate time, some good auspicious time when I can feed you. You can stay hungry for some time, no problem." Your mother doesn't say that. She loves. So even if in the middle of the night, the child wakes up the mother and say, "Mummy, I'm hungry," she will immediately get up and say, "Okay, are you hungry? I will cook something for you." So that is the real love, is uh, in doing whatever is necessary for the loved one. So God sees that kind of attitude. If we, whatever attitude of love or whatever nature of love we have towards our child or towards the people whom we love in our family, if that same attitude we can have towards God, that is excellent. It is not a question of how much you show off and you make a big show of following all rituals and invite 100 people and have very lavish food over there. These things do not impress God even one bit. Uh, Now, the next question is, what are the points that support the idea that God Narayana is Shakti, the feminine form of God? Swami is giving a list of points. The first point, A, God Narayana does not have a mustache and a beard, whereas God Shiva is often depicted with a mustache. So these are some external signs that Swamiji is giving, which prove that Lord Narayana is feminine in nature. He is the feminine form of God. The second is that God Narayana is fond of jewels and decoration, whereas God Shiva is not interested in jewels and decoration. Normally, we find that women are fond of jewelry, and men usually are not fond of jewelry. So, God Narayana being fond of jewels expresses a feminine nature. Next one, C. God Narayana is in the duty of maintenance of the world, just like the mother is involved in the duty of maintaining the house. God Shiva, representing destruction, is involved in the discipline of the house, like the father who is the head of the family. Again, normally in the family, it is the mother who maintains the home, and it is the father in terms of traditional roles, traditional gender roles, The father is not involved in maintaining the house, but he maintains discipline. So if the children are behaving properly, he is fine. He is peaceful. But if children start to misbehave and they disobey their mother, they go out of control, and finally the father will raise his voice, and then everything becomes silent. So similarly, Lord Shiva, as long as people in creation, we are the children of God. So as long as we children are behaving properly, Lord Shiva is fine. He will quietly meditate on Mount Kailas. He will not even open his eyes. But when we become destructive and when we start disturbing the peace and when we spoil justice, when we violate justice, then he he rises, he opens his eyes, especially his third eye, to destroy and punish. So he takes the role of the father, whereas Lord Vishnu is involved in playfully trying to, the mother is also, she doesn't necessarily shout and punish the children. In a playful manner, sometimes using arthavadas, sometimes tricking them, sometimes tempting them, sometimes encouraging them. She tries to get work done. She tries to feed the children, tries to encourage them to do their homework, and so on and so forth. So that is the role of Vishnu also in this creation. And Lord Shiva, he is more like the father. Then another piece of evidence is that in the holy names of goddess Lalita, that is the Lalita Sahasranama, one name of goddess Lalita says that she is the one who generated the 10 incarnations of God Vishnu. The Dashavataras are created by her from the nails of the 10 fingers of her hands. Lord Vishnu's incarnations, Dashavataras, they are 10 in number, the popular ones. The popular incarnations of Lord Vishnu are 10 in number. As such, the actual number of incarnations, according to the Bhagavatam, is innumerable, countless. Avatara hyasankheya harehe. This is the statement of the Bhagavatam, but the common or the most popular ones are 10 in number. And Goddess Lalita also has 10 nails, 10 fingernails on her two hands. So it is said in the Lalita Sahasranama that the 10 avatars of Lord Vishnu emerged from the 10 fingernails of Goddess Lalita. So it is said, Karanguli Nakhotpanna Narayana Dashakrutihi. So this indicates that both Shakti and Narayana are one and the same. If those incarnations, they are incarnations of Narayana, and they have emerged from Goddess Lalita, which means they are identical with Goddess Lalita. So Lord Narayana, whose incarnations those 10 avatars are, he must be one with Lalita. So he must also be feminine. Another point, in the temples of God Shiva, offering of food happens only once a day. In the temples of God Narayana, frequent offerings of food, that is Naivedyam, are seen throughout the day. Scriptures say that females eat double the quantity of food compared to males. Strinam dviguna maharam. Women tend to eat frequently during the day, whereas men don't eat so frequently. So, and the quantity that they overall eat, women tend to eat twice according to the Shastras. And this we discussed that in a certain time period, especially when women used to have many children and they used to be breastfeeding the children, naturally they have to consume double the food because they are not only eating for themselves, they are also eating for their unborn children as well as the children they are feeding. So that is very much understandable. Next point. God Shiva burnt the deity of romance, that is Cupid or Kamadeva. God Narayana did a lot of romance with several gopikas. Scripture says that females have 8 times more lust than males. Strinam ashtaguna kamaha. So Lord Shiva is not interested in romance, whereas Lord Vishnu, it appears, is just an external appearance, that he is interested in romance and he romanced with several gopikas. It's just an external appearance, not that internally he has any interest, but it appears that he has interest. And then the scripture has again said that it is women who have more sexual desire than men. So that shows Vishnu's feminine character. Next one. In fact, God Rama is the incarnation of goddess Lalita, and God Krishna is the incarnation of goddess Shyamala. So the two incarnations of Narayana, these are Lord Krishna and Lord Rama, they are incarnations of Lord Narayana or Lord Vishnu. But they are, from the medium point of view, they are incarnations of goddess Lalita and goddess Shyamala, respectively. And we see that there's some evidence to that effect also. Scripture says that goddess Lalita is red in color. Arunam Karuna Tarangitakshim. And hence Lord Rama is very fair. Therefore, in our images of God Rama, he is seen to be fair colored. Most of the artists and painters and even many sculptors also, they carve figures of Rama in a white stone marble. So Lord Rama is seen to be fair in all the depictions, and because he is the incarnation of goddess Lalita, who is said to be red in color. She is not said to be dark or black in color. A reddish color is uh, commonly seen in fair people. If you have seen a very fair person, if they go out in the sun, their cheeks become red. So that reddish color is commonly seen in fair people. So Lord Rama is fair because he is the incarnation of goddess Lalita. And Lord Krishna is the incarnation of goddess Shyamala, who is pale black, meaning dark. He is somewhat dark in color. Shyama means a pale black color. So therefore, Krishna is pale black. And we find that in our images of Krishna, he is shown to be of a pale black color. Now, the next question. What is the inner meaning of the stories read after the worship? So after the worship of the of God, Lord Satyanarayana, there are few stories that are read. And they are stories they are stories in which some devotees, they performed this worship of Lord Satyanarayana and they got some boons, some benefits. And some people who avoided or who disrespected Lord Satyanarayana or his devotees, they got some punishment. This is the general essence of the stories. And the several stories are to be read after that worship. So what is the inner meaning? So Swami is answering them. So the first point is that these stories, in these stories read after the worship, a Brahmana, two Kshatriyas, two Vaishyas, a Shudra, some cowherds, and two females are mentioned. So among all those stories, who are the characters described? They are these, a Brahmana, two Kshatriyas, and so on. So one may wonder why in this puja, in these stories belonging to that puja, the caste and gender of the devotees is mentioned. Is it some kind of caste discrimination? So it is not so. Swami explains, this caste system was based on the qualities and deeds of the souls and not based on the birth of the souls. It is not when it is said someone is a Brahmana, there what is referred to is the qualities of that person, not in which family he was born. A person born to Brahmin parents might have qualities as a Brahmin, might have the Brahminical qualities, but that has nothing to do with the fact that he was born to them. It is not that their genes contain some Brahminical qualities. Not so. God ensured that the soul born to this Brahmin couple should have qualities that are similar to his parents. The Brahminical qualities, they are qualities of awareness, not physical qualities. They are not physical traits. These are qualities of the awareness, and they are not transferred through genes. So it is not the blood of the father which makes father or mother, which makes a person similar to the parents. It is the fact that a soul of a similar nature was assigned to take birth as their child. But it is not compulsory that only a soul of a similar nature will be born to a couple. Sometimes, for certain good reasons, God may assign a certain soul to be born to parents having very different qualities. And those cases also Swamiji had explained in the Brahmajnanam. For example, if parents are highly materialistic and God wishes that they may be guided towards spiritual life, towards God, then one effective way of doing that is that the child born to them is a great devotee. Due to the strong devotional nature of that child, the parents are motivated or they are encouraged to turn towards God, because any parent loves their child. So these parents love their child and the child loves God. So the parents are being given an opportunity that they can turn towards God. So this is something good. Moreover, that devotee initially faces a lot of resistance from the parents, because the parents are not interested in devotion and these things. So initially they may try to oppose the devotion of this child. But that resistance from the parents serves a great purpose, because it purifies and intensifies that thirst to reach God in the mind of that child. So in fact, Prahlada was born to Hiranyakashipu. The way it worked, due to God's grace, the way it worked in the case of Prahlada is the resistance from his father actually intensified his devotion towards Lord Vishnu. So actually, Hiranyakashipu gets some credit for intensifying the devotion of Prahlada. Of course, that was not his intention, but indirectly, Prahlada got benefited. Prahlada never suffered a loss because God was there to protect him. And ultimately, it was Prahlada who ruled after his father. After his father was killed, who became the king? Prahlada became the king. So Prahlada did not lose anything materialistically and definitely did not lose anything spiritually. Spiritually, in fact, the reason he reached Lord Vishnu so quickly, even when he was such a young child, it is because of the resistance from his father. So whatever, I'm not saying that in every case a certain policy will work. God is the competent authority. He will decide which couple should have what kind of a child. Whether a devoted couple should have a devoted child, or whether a devoted couple should have an undevoted child, or any other combination. it is best decided by God, not by human beings. Sometimes an undevoted child might be born to a devoted couple. There is also a good reason behind that. That undevoted soul gets the opportunity to turn towards God because the force of both parents is there, which is pushing him towards God. Naturally, if the parents are devoted, they will encourage the child to also be devoted to God. This child is not interested. Initially, there will be some friction. But if the child wishes, the child can turn towards God as told by the parents. Ultimately, it is the free will of the child. God is not overruling anybody's free will. Even for the greatest divine knowledge that he preached to Arjuna, he says, Yathechasi tatha kuru. So your ichha, it is your ichha, Arjuna. I have told what I have to tell. I have told everything that you need to know. Now you analyze that whole thing properly. And it is your wish. I am not going to force you to do anything. So similarly, for that child, God is giving an opportunity. If the child wishes to follow the parents' wishes and turn towards God, that child's life will be changed. Life will be transformed. There will be infinite benefit for the child. But if the child wishes to rebel against the parents and wants to go in a materialistic direction, then what can be done? God is not going to oppose the child. So we have to understand that we are the writers of our own fate. We can never blame God. So this entire Chaturvarna system is meant for encouraging souls to turn towards God whenever they wish. If someone wishes to turn away from God, that is, they are writing their own fate. There are consequences. You can choose whatever you want, but it doesn't mean that there are no consequences. There will be consequences, of course. So the caste references that come in these stories are not discriminatory references. Someone is a Brahmana, someone is a Kshatriya, there's a Shudra, there is a cowherd, there are some females. So the caste and gender references that you find in the stories should not be misunderstood, because the caste system that is referred to over here is based on qualities and deeds. As your qualities, so will be your deeds. If I have very pure qualities, my actions will be pure. If I have impure qualities, my actions will be impure. If I have warrior-like qualities in my mind, in my awareness, my actions will also be warrior-like. If I am business-minded, my actions will also be doing business. So that is what I said. Those references are based on the qualities of those souls and the corresponding action that they do. So I'll read that statement again. This caste system was based on the qualities and deeds of the souls and not based on the birth of the souls. God Krishna, the highest incarnation of God Satyanarayana, has said that the caste system is based on qualities and deeds and not on birth. So he has said, Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashah. Hence, the caste system, not by birth, but by qualities and deeds, is the concept of God Shri Satyanarayana Swami. It is told in the first chapter that women of all castes and Shudras shall worship God using normal Sanskrit verses and not Vedic hymns. So the first chapter says that women of all castes and Shudras can worship God with the normal Sanskrit verses and not Vedic hymns. No, the Puranas are in Sanskrit. The Vedas are also in Sanskrit. Bhagavad Gita is also in Sanskrit, because in India, in olden days, everybody's mother tongue was Sanskrit. So everybody spoke Sanskrit. They could also understand Sanskrit. They could read Sanskrit. women and Shudras were told that there is no need for you to memorize the Veda with the Vedic accents. That is a very tedious process, and it is totally unnecessary for developing devotion. There is no benefit whatsoever in by memorizing the Veda and memorizing the Veda with those Vedic accents. There are 3 swaras. And in that pattern of 3 swaras, you are supposed to memorize the Veda. You're supposed to recite it exactly in that manner. So that job can be left to the Brahmanas. Their entire life is dedicated only for that. But just by memorizing the Veda, does your devotion to God improve? Not at all. Do you get any extra points in God's eyes? Not at all. It is the purity of devotion and the practical nature of devotion which gets points in the eyes of God. So all that is unnecessary. Shudras are hardworking people. They are very busy throughout the day. Women are extremely hardworking. They have to take care of the entire household. They have to take care of the children. They have to take care of the men folk in the house, because the men folk during the day they go out and work. When they come back, the women have to feed them. So the women and the Shudras do not have time for reciting and memorizing the Veda. So why should they bother about it? So they should worship God using those normal Sanskrit verses which are found in the Puranas. That is sufficient. And in fact, in present times, there is no need of even understanding Sanskrit at all. Because today, Sanskrit is not our mother tongue. These stories and the chapters, that is told for ancient times when Sanskrit was the mother tongue. So women and Shudras can read the regular verses which are in Sanskrit, and the Brahmanas can recite they have to memorize the Veda, they have to recite it exactly according to the rules of pronunciation as well as the swaras. Why is that necessary? Because in olden days, that was the only way of preserving the Veda. There were no hard disks to store data. There were no even books, and printing press was not invented. And manuscripts, handwritten leaf manuscripts, were perishable. A fire can burn down all your entire library. Sometimes some bugs and insects may damage these manuscripts. So if you don't have the Veda memorized, in one such unfortunate incident, you will lose the entire Vedic knowledge. So it is important that you memorize it. And to facilitate the memorization, those Vedic accents, those swaras, are very beneficial. So let that job be done only by the Brahmanas. The other castes need not worry about it. And especially women need not worry about it because they are very busy throughout the day. So here Swami continues, he says, the idea here is that those two categories of people, that is women and Shudras, need not waste their time to recite the Veda with accents, that is the Vedic swaras, since the Veda simply means knowledge and not the mere words without knowing their meanings. One shall always remember that the caste meant by sages is not by birth, but by the qualities and deeds. So, what is the Veda finally? Veda, if you literally translate the word Veda, it is knowledge. So, Veda is the knowledge given by God. Now, if you have to, it is compulsory for everyone to understand the knowledge given by God. But it is not compulsory to memorize those words. Even when we go to college, do we memorize the textbook? No, but we understand the concept. We understand the knowledge and we write it in our own words in the exam. And later on, when we get a job in our regular routine, we have understood those concepts and we put those concepts in practice. We practice as we have learned. Those concepts are practiced in real life. That is important. Do you get any extra points that you can memorize the entire textbook and you can memorize it page wise? So page number 1, start reciting, and then now page number 2 and start reciting. Do you get any points, any marks for that in college, in school? No, you don't. Similarly, if the Veda is recited exactly in a perfect manner with all the Vedic swaras, that has no benefit. It is necessary. It was necessary in the past, not necessary today. So this is the point that we have to understand. And so the restrictions and or rather these are recommendations rather than restrictions. Those recommendations are based on caste. But the caste implied over here is again not by birth but by qualities and deeds. Shudras are those people who work hard throughout the day. They are the foundation of the entire social structure because they are the ones who generate the wealth. It is agriculture and basic, the labor force, the service sector, which generates wealth. That wealth is traded or is amplified by the Vaishyas, the traders and the merchants. But initially, someone has to generate the wealth. If no crops are planted, if no labor is available, if manufacturing is not there, then where is the wealth generation? It will stop. There is nothing to trade. So the traders will also be helpless. So it is the Shudras who form the basis of the entire society. If you are a person who does that kind of work, working hard, the service sector essentially, the service sector, the labor sector, the agricultural sector, if you belong to that sector, you will be extremely busy and you will not have time for anything else. So don't bother to memorize the Veda. It is not necessary. It is necessary for you to be devoted to God. It is necessary for you to understand the concepts related to God. But it is not necessary for you to memorize the Veda like a parrot. Let that parrot work be done by those who have, for whom that is the given duty. The Brahmanas of olden times were assigned the specific duty of preserving the Veda. Let them bother about it. Why are you bothered about it? For you, what is important is just remember the concepts of the Veda, which are found in the Puranas. In fact, they are more clearly given in the Puranas. In the Veda, you can please do this experiment. You open any, on the internet, you search for any mantra, any Vedic mantra. Please read and try to understand it. You will not understand. On the other hand, search for any Purana and read any story from the Purana. You will understand it perfectly. So the concepts are better understood in the Puranas actually. In the Veda, they are not so clearly understood. You should be a scholar. You should have studied the Veda, not only the Vedas, you should also study the Angas, the Vedangas, like grammar, etymology. Unless you have studied all these, let me say, ancillary disciplines, ancillary Vedic disciplines, you will not be able to interpret the Veda properly. So the Shudras are being told, you don't bother about it. Anyway, in terms of the fruit, you are not being denied the fruit. You are not going to get anything less. You will get plenty of fruit. You can achieve the highest liberation also. For that, memorizing the Veda is not necessary. So maybe I'll just read this point and then try to close so that there's some continuity. So in the second chapter, a Brahmana suffers with poverty. Scripture says that if a Brahmana leaves mantras, poverty will attack him. Mantra tyagi daridrataha. A person who leaves or renounces mantras, that person will face poverty. Now, what is the meaning of mantra? Mantra means the meaning. Mantra doesn't refer to words. Mantra means the meaning that enlightens the mind. The mind always grasps the meaning of the word and not the mere word. Brahmanas, while doing their priestly duties, are not revealing the meaning of the Vedic hymns. It is the meaning which kindles true devotion in the minds of devotees listening to the hymns. The priests, avoiding the explanation of the meanings of the Vedic hymns, that is the mantras, are essentially leaving out the mantras. And that is why they have become very poor. The Brahmin priest who is conducting the puja in your house, he may say that, no, I never left any mantra. I recited all the mantras. But kind sir, you never explained the meaning to us. What is meant by those mantras? In fact, whether he understood the mantras also is a big question. Maybe if one rare Brahmin like that is properly learned, he might know the meaning. But many of the Pandits whom we call, they are called Pandits, they are not Pandits really. But many of these Brahmin priests, they themselves do not understand the meaning. They are reciting the Vedic mantras without understanding the meaning themselves, let alone explaining it to us. So if they have not explained the meaning to us, they have left out the mantra, because the mantra is not merely those words. The words are inert. It is the meaning behind the words that is important. The meaning to be conveyed by the words, that is important. So if that priest has to do justice to that mantra, the meaning should be communicated. We can say that a certain mantra has been delivered by that priest, provided the meaning is understood by the audience. So Swami has given some options for that. First is that the Sanskrit verses should be explained in a language that the public understands, preferably their mother tongue. Even if it's not the mother tongue, if the public understands some common language, it should be translated. The Sanskrit verse can be maintained, and its translation and explanation in a common language should be given. Secondly, the priest should also explain. Sometimes if the priest explains without the translation, if he makes an error or if he deliberately misinterprets something, the public will not get the right concept. So it is better to translate in writing, and then the priest can explain. So the public can, if they wish, they can read. If they prefer to listen, they can listen. If there is some doubt in their mind, they can read the explanation and they can compare. The Pandit said this, but the translation given here is something else. Then they can raise a question that, sir, you have said something, but I am reading something else over here. Please, can you resolve that conflict? So this can be done. So if the priest does this properly, he makes sure that his audience is able to understand the mantra, then we can say that he has delivered the mantra. But since priests are not doing that, that entire priestly community is unfortunately poor. So God helped the above mentioned Brahmana. In one of the stories, there's the case of a Brahmana, because he was simply following the tradition of his ancestors since the beginning of the Kali age. And he himself was not the initiator and establisher of this bad concept of blindly reciting Vedic hymns without explaining the meaning in people's mother tongue. So there is a Brahmana who was very poor, and then upon worshipping Lord Satyanarayana, he got wealth. So why was he poor? He was poor because he was not delivering the mantra properly. He was leaving out the mantra. He was reciting the mantra in Sanskrit without explaining the meaning. And that is why he was poor. But then God blessed him. Why did God bless him? If he has committed a sin, he should not be blessed. But God blessed him because he committed the mistake not out of his own initiation. He did not on his own start that bad tradition. His ancestors sometime in the past might have started that tradition, that bad tradition of neglecting the meaning by simply reciting the Sanskrit verses, Sanskrit mantras, without the caring about the meaning. He was not the originator of this bad tradition. He was merely following what his father taught him. His father did not know the meaning of of those mantras. His grandfather did not know the meaning of the mantras. How will this fellow come to know? So he was not guilty of starting that tradition, the wrong tradition, but he happened to be a follower of that wrong tradition. So he got the bad fruit of that in terms of poverty. But then God, due to his grace, he gave enough wealth to him. When he started worshipping God, a person who becomes devoted to God will naturally explain to the public the greatness of God. So, in effect, he is also delivering the meaning of the mantra to the public, due to which God becomes pleased. And so his poverty was removed. So, at this point, I'll take a pause and hand over to Dr. Prasad. Pada Namaskaram, Swamiji.
Namaste.
Satsang Namaskaram, Swami.
Namaste.
Swami, may I continue to read what Professor Nikhil ji has
Yes,
just...
yes. Yes, yes.
Thank you, Swami. I'll share the screen. I'm repeating the reading done by Professor Nikhil. This is a Satsanga happened on the occasion of Sri Satyanarayana Swami Vratam, performed by our Swamiji on 19th March 2026. I was also lucky to be part of the devotees who witnessed this wonderful event when our own Swamiji was performing as the priest. It was wonderful visual for the eyes, because the God is performing his own puja. So this was the background of this, and I'll start to read. His Holiness Shri Datta Swami has conducted the worship of Sri Satya Narayana Swami as the priest on 19th March 2026, after the marriage of Dr. Geeta Lahari, who is working in Yashoda Hospital, and Sri Vishnu, who is an IT professional. Many devotees have attended the worship, and few flashes of the spiritual knowledge radiated from Swami's mouth are presented here. The question asked by the devotees here is, why is God called Satya Narayana instead of simply Narayana? So we know the meaning of the word Narayana. Naram is Jnanam, Ayanam. He is the place of the Jnana. He is the ultimate destiny of the Jnana. Narayana. Naram, Ayanam, Saha. But Satya is the word prefixed to this word. Why it is so? This is the purport of the question. And Swami replied, the extra word Satya means the essence of Narayana. It means that the actual Satya form of God Narayana or God Vishnu is feminine Shakti. This worship is recommended to be done in the night and not during daytime, since the scripture says, take a bath in the evening and start the worship when night begins. Sayam kale punasnatva yajed devam nishamukhe. First chapter, this is appeared in the first chapter of Reva Khanda of Skanda Puranam. Shakti, the Divine Mother, is worshipped at night, whereas Shiva, the Divine Father, is worshipped during daytime. This worship, to be done in the night, is again stressed in the first chapter. Devam Nishamukhe. That answers the question why Satya word is to be there in the compound word called Satya Narayana. Now the next question is, what is the proof of God Narayana being feminine? Because Swami just mentioned that a form of Shakti. So upon that, another question has come. Swami replied, the proof of God Shiva being the father and God Narayana being the mother is that God Narayana took a feminine form of Mohini and married the masculine god Shiva to get a son called Shasta, who incarnated on earth as Manikantha or Ayyappa Swami. So this is a well-known story. During the churning of the milk ocean, God Vishnu has taken the form of Mohini and he has distracted the concentration of the demons. And third question is, why is this worship so powerful? Very interestingly, not only in South India, many other northern states also, they follow, they perform this Vratam, Sri Satyanarayana Swami Vratam, considering that it is wish fulfilling ritual. That is why this worship is so powerful. Swami replied, this worship is considered to be very powerful because all the administrative staff of the entire creation is invited and worshipped along with God Sri Satyanarayana Swami. There are staff of 3 levels. In fact, when we do the puja and do sankalpa and we are doing all the ritualistic process, we never correlate that there are 3 levels and we are inviting them one by one. And Swamiji explained very clearly here what are those levels: high, higher, and highest. The staff at the highest level are the 5 Lokapalakas, are the rulers of creation, namely God Ganapati. We do Ganapati Puja in the beginning, God Brahma, God Vishnu, God Shiva, and Goddess Parvati or Shakti. So Swamiji is justifying how the feminine representation is there in this 5-member committee. Is a wonderful point here. In this 5-member committee, females need not protest about the lack of 50% female representation because God Vishnu as Mohini and God Shiva as Ardhanarishwara make the desired 50%. Just now, Professor Nikhil was explaining how this 2.5 representation has come out of 5. The staff at the higher level are the 9 planets, namely Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, Rahu, and Ketu. These are the Navagrahas. The next level, the high level staff are the 8 rulers of the 8 directions, namely Indra, Agni, Yama, Nirruti, Varuna, Vayu, Kubera, and Ishana. It is like a director invited for a dinner party along with all his office staff. The next question, why is this worship so powerful? And Swami is explaining here, any devotee, either male or female, either single or married, either with spouse or without spouse, can do this worship on any day, irrespective of caste or gender or financial status. It's so much flexible. So no astrologically auspicious day is required because the very worship of God is going to remove all the inauspicious effects. There is no need of any good day for doing the worship of God. Even if one is poor, he or she can do the worship in the simplest way with available items without any lavishness. God sees the sincerity in worship and not the lavishness. The next question asked was, what are the points that support God Narayana is Shakti, the feminine form of God? Swamiji is giving wonderful points here. In fact, all these points are revealed. So far, they are not mentioned in any text clearly. Point A, God Narayana does not have a mustache and a bird, whereas God Shiva is often depicted with a mustache. B, God Narayana is fond of jewels and decoration, whereas God Shiva is not interested in jewels and decoration. We often listen Alankara Priyo Vishnu and Abhisheka Priya Shiva. C. God Narayana is in the duty of maintenance of the world, just like the mother is involved in the duty of maintaining the house. Sthiti Karaka. God Shiva, representing the destruction, is involved in the discipline of the house, like the father who is the head of the family. And this is Samhara. And D, in the holy names of goddess Lalita, one name says that she generated 10 incarnations of God Vishnu. These are Dashavataras, 10 incarnations, from the nails of the 10 fingers of her hands. And Swamiji is quoting from Lalita Sahasranama, Karanguli Nakhotpanna Narayana Dashakritihi, indicating that both Shakti and Narayana are one and the same. E. In the temples of God Shiva, offering food happens only once a day. In the temples of God Narayana, frequent offerings of food, that is called Naivedyam, are seen throughout the day. For example, we can think of Lord Balaji's temple in Tirumala. All of us might have visited at least once and have observed how the Naivedyam is being offered to the god. Scripture says that females eat double the quantity of food compared to males. And Swamiji is giving a reference from Manusmriti. Strinam Digudamaharam. F. God Shiva burned the deity of romance, that is, Cupid or Kamadeva. God Narayana did a lot of romance with several gopikas. Scripture says that females have 8 times more lust than males. That is Strinam Ashtaguna Kamaha. Again from same Smriti. And G. In fact, God Rama is the incarnation of Goddess Lalita, and God Krishna is the incarnation of Goddess Shamala. Scripture says that Goddess Lalita is red in color. Arunam Karuna Tarangitakshim Dhrutapashankusha Chapabana Hastam. Again from Dalita Sahasranama. And hence, God Rama is very fair. Swami is reminding us here. Therefore, in our images of God Rama, he is seen to be fair colored. I think we have seen several times the foot of God Rama while Bhakti Ganga is being played. Goddess Shamala is pale black. Shama means pale black color, and hence Krishna is pale black. Therefore, in our images of Krishna, he is seen to be of a pale black color. We normally see God Krishna's photo in blue color. His body is painted in blue color. Once Swamiji has asked, did you see anybody who is blue in color in the world? So that is why this fact must be noted. The next question, what is the inner meaning of stories read after the worship? There are 5 adhyayas in the Satyanarayana Pratakalpam. Each story has some inner meaning. Swami is revealing those meanings. In the stories read after the worship, a Brahmana, 2 Kshatriyas, 2 Vaishyas, a Shudra, some cowheads, and 2 females are mentioned. The essence of the 5 chapters. This caste system was based on the qualities and deeds of the souls and not based on the birth of the souls. God Krishna, the highest incarnation of God Satyanarayana, has said that the caste system is based on qualities and deeds and not on birth. Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagashaha, said in Gita. Hence, the caste system, not by birth, but by qualities and deeds, is the concept of God, Shri Satyanarayana Swami. Swami is also interesting word here. Samasya asti iti Swami. Swami means the Sampad, Aishwaryam. What is that Aishwaryam? The Jada and Chetana things in this world are his property. That is why he is Swami. It is told in the first chapter that women of all castes and Shudras shall worship God using normal Sanskrit verses and not Vedic hymns. Again, should not mistake with the word Shudras. Shudras, again, we have to take the reference from Guna Karma Vibhaga, not based on the birth. And continuing, the idea here is that these 2 categories of people need not waste their time to recite the Veda with accents, which are called Veda Swaras, since the Veda simply means knowledge and not the mere words without knowing their meanings. There are 8 types of accents like Padakrama, Jata, Ghana. They are called Ashta Vikritis. Veda Pandits, they recite using these different techniques. But unfortunately, the meaning is totally forgotten. Only they have given the emphasis on intonation, that is the swara. And Swami mentioned several times in discourses that without knowing the meaning, if you recite, you are just like a tape recorder. One shall always remember that the caste meant by sages is not by birth, but by the qualities and deeds. And next point in this answer, in the second chapter, a Brahmana suffers with a lot of poverty. Scripture says that if a Brahmana leaves out a mantra, poverty will attack him. The reference is mantra tyagi daridrataha. Mantra means the meaning that enlightens the mind. Ranatrayate iti mantra. The mind always grasps the meaning of the word and not the mere word. Brahmanas, while doing their priestly duties, are not revealing the meaning of the Vedic hymns. It is the meaning which kindles true devotion in the minds of the devotees listening to the hymns. The priests, avoiding the explanation of the meanings of the Vedic hymns, which are called mantras, are essentially leaving out the mantras, and that is why they have become very poor. Even the current state of Brahmins, priests, why they are so, why God is so unkind, if people may question. This is the answer given by Swamiji. This is Swayankritam. God helped the above mentioned Brahmana because he was simply following the tradition of his ancestors since the beginning of the Kali age, and he himself was not the initiator and establisher of this bad concept of blindly chanting the Vedic hymns without explaining the meaning in people's mother tongue. Elsewhere, Swamiji has written in the discourses, the one who is not knowing the meaning but reciting the mantras is like a donkey carrying the sandalwood on its back. Whether it is cloths or sandalwood, both are same for the donkey. It doesn't know the value. Similarly, the one who is not knowing the meaning and reciting mantras is also like that animal only. This is also told by other scholar called Yaska in his text called Nirukta. And third point in this answer, in the same second chapter, a Shudra cutting sticks and selling them for his livelihood is also introduced, and he was never told to have suffered with poverty because Shudras never suppressed any other caste. They were the ones who were suppressed by other castes. This seller of sticks entered the house of the above said Brahmana to drink water since he was thirsty. Trishnaya Piditatmacha. This thirst shall not be interpreted as poverty because hunger alone is the indicator of poverty. Thirst has nothing to do with poverty. Even a king can become thirsty. Uh, Fourth point, in the third chapter, a king was introduced doing this worship. He was not punished by God since he never did any sin at any time. This means that there are some good souls who will not become egoistic due to power and wealth. And the fifth point, in the third and fourth chapters, a Vaishya doing business is introduced. He was very greedy even towards God. Such a greedy fellow was subjected to several difficulties again and again till he was reformed. Every time his wife seriously advises him that he should not greedy towards God. This shows that females generally have lesser greediness and more submissiveness due to the lack of the masculine ego. Let me read this sentence again. This shows that females generally have lesser greediness and more submissiveness due to the lack of the masculine ego. Greedy people spend lakhs of rupees on purchasing new clothes for their weddings, but they purchase a cheap red kashi towel for 1 rupee to present to the priest. They purchase expensive basmati rice to be cooked as food for their relatives and friends in the function, whereas they purchase very cheap ration rice to give to the priests. I think it is 8 p.m. Swami may stop here for Bhakti Ganga session.
Yes, yes.
Sashtanga Namaskaram, Swami.
Stay.
స్వామి మీ పాదపద్మాలకు నమస్కారం స్వామి.
Stay.
నిలబెట్టినావు నీరజాక్ష నన్ను నడిపించినావు నారాయణ నన్ను నడిపించినావు నారాయణ, నన్ను నిలబెట్టినావు నీరజాక్ష. ఏమి చేసేదనయ్య ఏకద్వితీయ నీకు రుణము తీర్చేదెట్లు ఋషి నాయక దత్త. ఏమి చేసేదనయ్య ఏకద్వితీయ నీకు ఋణము తీర్చేదెట్లు ఋషి నాయక దత్త. నీ రుణము తీర్చేదెట్లు ఋషి నాయక దత్త. మూగవాడైన నన్ను ముఖ్య గురువుగా చేసి వెర్రినగున చేత వేదార్థమును పలికించి పని చేసినవనుచు జీతభత్యములనిచ్చి మురిసేవు ఇది ఏమి మురిపెమయ్యా నీకు. మూలమూలము నీవే ముద్దు దత్త కనుగొన్న. నిలబెట్టినావు నీరజాక్షానన్ను నడిపించినావు నారాయణ, నన్ను నడిపించినావు నారాయణ, నన్ను నిలబెట్టినావు నీరజాక్ష. ధన్యవాదాలు స్వామి. ఆరంభంలో నా వల్ల అంతరాయం
నమస్తే.
కలిగినందుకు సభాముఖంగా క్షమాపణ కోరుకుంటున్నాను స్వామి.
నమస్తే.
ధన్యవాదాలు స్వామి.
నమస్తే.
తత్సవితుస్తా దేవతాయాః వరేణ్య భర్గో ధీమహి ప్రచోదయేద్వై ధియో యో నః తం బ్రహ్మాణం జ్ఞానసూర్యం. భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం. ప్రాణే ప్రసవాత్ యః ప్రసిద్ధః సవితేత్యశ్చ బ్రహ్మతేజః. శిష్యధియశ్చ ప్రేరయేన్నః తం గాయత్రీ మంత్రసారం. భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం. గాయత్రీయం ఛంద ఏవ సవితా దేవః స్మర్యతే చ. శిష్యాంధకార ముకుళితాబ్జా ధీవికాసదం గురువరేణ్యం. భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం. కర్తా భర్తా హ్యేషహర్తా సర్వస్యాస్య శ్రూయతే హి. త్రిమూర్తిరూపం బ్రహ్మచైకం బ్రహ్మాకారం బ్రహ్మవాచం. భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం. త్రిపదం ఛందః త్రిస్వరోక్తం త్రికాలవంద్యం త్రిగుణసూత్రం. త్రివాహినీనాం సంగమం వా త్రిమూర్తితత్వం యం యనక్తి. భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం. ఓంకారశ్చ త్రివిధ వర్ణః త్రిస్రో వ్యాహృత యోపి యం హి సంబోధయంతి సర్వమంత్రో యమేవ వక్తి త్రిగుణమేకం. భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం. చత్వారోయం వేదశునకాః గౌరనుసరతి చ వేదధర్మః
వీణాశ్రవణం వాణీపతిం షోడశవర్షం బ్రహ్మదేవం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం జగదారంభం హంసవాహం తేజోవదనం మంత్రమూలం గాయత్రీశం సామగానం విద్యానిలయం వేదపాఠం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం యజ్ఞాచరణం హోమనిష్టం కమండలుధరం దర్భపాణిం అగ్నిజ్వాలా భాసమానం ప్రాతః సంధ్యా బాలభానుం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం చందన తిలకే కుంకుమాంకం బ్రహ్మ తేజసా దీప్యమానం జగన్మోహన సుందరాంగం ఆశాయధరం పండితేశం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం అత్రే పుత్రం బ్రహ్మదత్తం అనసూయాంబా ప్రేమరాశిం అజనమేఖలం బ్రహ్మదండం యజ్ఞోపవీత మక్షమాలం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం స్వతనోరోజ్యత్ కమలగంధైః త్రిభువనాని హ్లాదయంతం బ్రహ్మముహూర్తే సాధకానాం ప్రచోదయేత్తా ధియో యో నః భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం సృష్టిక్రమవద పురుష సూక్తం త్రిస్వరబద్ధం పావనార్థం ఋషిభిః పఠితం బ్రహ్మకాలే శ్రుత్వా శ్రుత్వా ప్రీయమాణం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం త్రిమతాచార్యై పఠ్యమానాన్ తత్తన్మతమయ భాష్యవాదాన్ శ్రుత్వా సిద్ధాంతార్థమంత్యం సమన్వయమతం వాచయంతం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం వేదాంతానా మాంతిమార్థం వేదాంతార్థం బోధయంతం ఋషిభిః పరితో భాషమాణం శాస్త్రార్థేషు వ్యంజితేషు భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం ఆయుధవర్జిత పాణిపద్మం వాచైవారిం మారయంతం కర్మఫలాని లలాటపత్రే లిఖంతమాయో దాయదానం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం ఆచార్యేంద్రం వాక్ప్రచారం భువి సంచారం నిర్విచారం కళాభిచారం సదాచారం సురపరిచారం చిత్తచోరం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం పద్మసంభవం పద్మపీఠం పద్మసుగంధం పద్మవర్ణం పద్మాపుత్రం పద్మనేత్రం పద్మసుపాణిం పద్మపాదం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం వీణాపాణిః యస్య శిష్యా వాణీ గాయతి జ్ఞానదేవి తం వాగీశం సామవాచ చరశోణాధర మంత్రపాఠం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం భజ భజ దత్తం యత్సంకల్పః కేవలం హి సర్వం విశ్వం रचितमेवम् आद्यं देवं प्रथममूर्तिम् आराधनीया मजमनादिं भज भज दत्तं भज भज दत्तं भज भज दत्तं भज भज दत्तं ललाटरेखां कर्मबद्धां परिमार्ष्टुं यः केवलो हि सर्वसमर्थो लेखकोऽयं धातारं तं मूलमूलं भज भज दत्तं भज भज दत्तं भज भज दत्तं भज भज दत्तं चतुराम्नायां चतुरवाचा चतुरास्याब्जै रुद्गिरन्तं कविं कवीनाम् आदिकाव्यं सर्वजगदिदं विरचयन्तं भज भज दत्तं भज भज दत्तं भज भज दत्तं भज भज दत्तं परमब्रह्म ब्रह्मशब्दो यस्मिन्नेव प्रकृतिहेतौ पूजातीतं परमपूज्यं दिवसारम्भे पूजनीयं भज भज दत्तं भज भज दत्तं भज भज दत्तं भज भज दत्तं गायत्र्याद्या यस्य भार्याः त्रिशक्तयस्ताः त्रिमुखपद्मं देवपितॄणां पितरमेव पितामहाख्यं ब्रह्मरूपं भज भज दत्तं भज भज दत्तं भज भज दत्तं भज भज दत्तं श्रीदत्त ब्रह्म गायत्रीं योगायेत् ब्रह्मकालिकीं सब्रह्म तेजसा दीप्तो ज्ञानी ब्रह्मत्वमश्नुते शतायुर्दायमाप्नोति सर्वविद्याः प्रपद्यते सत्पुत्रं लभते होमात् ऐश्वर्यं ब्रह्मवीक्षितः भज भज दत्तं भज भज दत्तं भज भज दत्तं भज भज दत्तं
वेंकटेश्वर 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 पाहि मां वेंकटेश्वर 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 रक्ष माम् ऊर्ध्वपुण्ड्रविलक्षणाङ्कित फालदेशसमुज्ज्वलं सप्तशैलविभूषणं नव नीलमेघसमप्रभं वामपार्श्वविलम्बिमौक्तिक दामचारुकिरीटिनं वेङ्कटेश्वरमाश्रये मम किं करिष्यति वै कलिः वेङ्कटेश्वर 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 पाहि मां वेङ्कटेश्वर 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 रक्ष माम् हंसयोरुपरिस्फुरद्युति शङ्खचक्रसुलक्षितं चक्रवाकसमाकृतिस्फुट कर्णभूषणशोभितं स्वर्णवर्णधगद्धगद्युति नूतनाम्बरविभ्रमं वेङ्कटेश्वरमाश्रये मम किं करिष्यति वै कलिः वेङ्कटेश्वर 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 पाहि मां वेङ्कटेश्वर 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 रक्ष माम् चित्रपुष्पसरोल्लसत्तुलसीदळात्मकमालिकं वज्रमौक्तिकधामसंभृत चित्रविभूषणं शोणपद्मविशेषहार परिष्कृतामलकन्धरं वेङ्कटेश्वरमाश्रये मम किं करिष्यति वै कलिः वेङ्कटेश्वर 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 पाहि मां वेङ्कटेश्वर 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 रक्ष माम् शूतपल्लवकोमलाधर नर्तितस्मितसुन्दरं चन्दनाङ्कसमुल्लसच्युबुकान्तकान्तिविलक्षणम् उल्लसत्तिलपुष्पसंमित चरुनासमनोहरं वेङ्कटेश्वरमाश्रये मम किं करिष्यति वै कलिः वेङ्कटेश्वर 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 पाहि मां वेङ्कटेश्वर 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 रक्ष माम् धौतदीधितिमीनयुग्म कलालसत्तललोचनं कामचापयुगभ्रुवोरति सुन्दराकृतिभासुरं वामपाणिविलोलसौरभ वर्षिकोमलवारिजं वेङ्कटेश्वरमाश्रये मम किं करिष्यति वै कलिः। वेङ्कटेश्वर 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 पाहि मां वेङ्कटेश्वर 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 रक्ष माम्। दक्षिणादिगुणालयं शुभ सर्वसद्गुणसागरं पापकूपनिमग्नजीव समुद्धरं धरणीधवम् अङ्गुलीयकवज्रदीधिति पाणिनाभयदायकं वेङ्कटेश्वरमाश्रये मम किं करिष्यति वै कलिः। वेङ्कटेश्वर 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 पाहि मां वेङ्कटेश्वर 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 रक्ष माम्। उज्ज्वलाङ्गसुदर्शनाभिध चक्रखण्डितराक्षसं सर्वमङ्गलदेवता रमयालसद्गुरुवक्षसं शङ्खचक्रगदाशिशार्ङ्ग समाख्यपञ्चसमायुधं वेङ्कटेश्वरमाश्रये मम किं करिष्यति वै कलिः। वेङ्कटेश्वर 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 पाहि मां वेङ्कटेश्वर 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 रक्ष माम्। यः पठेदिदमद्भुतं स्तव मुत्तमोत्तममागमं सर्वकष्टविमुक्तिमेति सकृत्सुखं लभते नरः क्षीरसागरशायिनं परमाप्नुयात् परपूरुषं वेङ्कटेश्वरमाश्रये मम किं करिष्यति वै कलिः। वेङ्कटेश्वर 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 पाहि मां वेङ्कटेश्वर 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 रक्ष माम्।
शङ्कराय ते लोकशङ्कराय ते वन्दनानि मे देववासुदेवस्य। शङ्कराय ते लोकशङ्कराय ते वन्दनानि मे देववासुदेवस्य। फाललोचनं तव हि मे सुदर्शनं शूलमेव ते तिलकमोत्फपुण्ड्रकम् नीलकण्ठते भाति कण्ठनीलिम विस्तरान्महो मम हि देहनीलिम। शङ्कराय ते लोकशङ्कराय ते वन्दनानि मे देववासुदेवस्य। फालचक्षुषा दग्धपद्मसायकं सादराक्षिणा दृष्टपद्मसम्भवं प्रेमवीक्षणा लोलपद्मलोचनं त्वां त्रिलोचनं देवसंस्मराम्यहं। शङ्कराय ते लोकशङ्कराय ते वन्दनानि मे देववासुदेवस्य। नटनपण्डिता स्फुरति रम्यताण्डवं चित्रमण्डलं भ्रमणलोलकुण्डलं पुरगमण्डन स्खलितधर्मदण्डनं धनुजखण्डनं विजितभारतीभण्डनं। शङ्कराय ते लोकशङ्कराय ते वन्दनानि मे देववासुदेवस्य। शङ्कराय ते లోకశంకరాయ తే వందనాని మే దేవవాసుదేవస్య. అనగా వచ్చితి నెన్నోసార్లు ఈ మధ్యకాలం మందున నేను శ్రీపాదవల్లభ నామమున వచ్చి పరిస్థితి చూచితిని. శ్రీ నరసింహ సరస్వతిగా అవతరించి తిని మహిమల చూపితి. ధర్మబోధలను చేసి తిని గురుతత్వము బోధించి తిని సంప్రదాయమును పలికి తిని విశ్వాసము రక్షించి తిని మాణిక్యపురిని ప్రభువుగా వచ్చితి గద్దెనెక్కి శాసించి తిని స్వామి సమర్థుడనై మరలను వచ్చి తత్వమును నుడివి తిని షిరిడీ గ్రామమునందునను సాయిగా వచ్చితి చెప్పి తిని దైవవాక్యములన్నిటినీ సోదాహరణము పలుకులతో పర్తియందు విలసిల్లుదును శ్రీ సత్యసాయి నామముతో భజనల పాడుచు తత్వమును వివరించుచు సర్వజనులకు ఎన్నో రూపములందు భువిన్ గురు రూపములను దాల్చి తిని దత్తవేదమును పలికి తిని దత్తగీతలను వ్రాసి తిని గోపీ గీతల పాడి తిని కృష్ణదత్తునిగ రసఝరులన్ జ్ఞాన భక్తులను చూపి తిని కంఠశోషయే మిగిలినది. అనగా వచ్చి తినెన్నోసార్లు ఈ మధ్యకాల మందునే నేను.
ప్రపంచ సర్కరోడా శ్రీ దత్తస్వామి వారు రచించిన తెలుగు జానపద గీతం. బండెనక బండి గట్టి 16 బండ్లు గట్టి, బండెనక బండి గట్టి 16 బండ్లు గట్టి, నీ గుడికి వస్తం దత్తుడో ప్రపంచ సరకరోడా, నీ గుడికి వస్తం దత్తుడో ప్రపంచ సరకరోడా. బమ్మివాగు తుమ్మివాగు చంద్రవాగు సంగమాన, బమ్మివాగు తుమ్మివాగు చంద్రవాగు సంగమాన, నీ గుడికి వస్తం దత్తుడో ప్రపంచ సరకరోడా, నీ గుడికి వస్తం దత్తుడో ప్రపంచ సరకరోడా. ఎత్తిపోతల కొండ మీద, ఎత్తిపోతల కొండ మీద, నీ గుడికి వస్తం దత్తుడో ప్రపంచ సరకరోడా, నీ గుడికి వస్తం దత్తుడో ప్రపంచ సరకరోడా. శ్రీ దత్తస్వామి వారు రచించిన ఈ పాట తెలంగాణ జానపద గీతం నైజాము సర్కరోడా యొక్క రాగంలో పాడబడినది. ఎత్తిపోతల కొండ మీద ప్రాచీన దత్తాత్రేయ దేవాలయము ఉన్నది. నిజానికి యతి తపస్థల అన్న పేరు ఎత్తిపోతలగా ఇప్పుడు పిలవబడుతోంది. యతి అనగా ఋషి, యతి తపస్థల అనగా ఋషులు తపస్సు చేసే చోటు అని అర్థము. శ్రీ దత్తస్వామి వారు యతి తపస్థలంలో 3 రోజుల పాటు నిద్రాహారాలు మాని దత్తుని కోసం తపస్సు చేసినారు. 4వ రోజున దత్తుడు ప్రత్యక్షమై స్వామివారితో సంభాషించినారు. వారి మధ్య జరిగిన దివ్య సంభాషణ శ్రీ దత్తగురు భగవద్గీత అనే పుస్తకంగా స్వామివారు సంస్కృతంలో రచించి తెలుగు మరియు ఆంగ్ల అనువాదాలతో ప్రచురించినారు. ఆ కొండ మీద నుండి 3 వాగులు ప్రవహిస్తూ ఉంటాయి. బమ్మివాగు బ్రహ్మకు ప్రతీక, తుమ్మివాగు విష్ణువుకు ప్రతీక, చంద్రవాగు శివునికి ప్రతీక. తుమ్మ చెట్టు నల్లగా ఉండును కావున విష్ణువుకు ప్రతీక, చంద్రుడు తెల్లగా ఉండును కావున శివునికి ప్రతీక. నైజాము సర్కరోడా అనగా నైజాం రాజ్యమును పాలించు ప్రభువు అని అర్థము. అలానే ప్రపంచ సర్కరోడా అనగా ప్రపంచమును పాలించు ప్రభువు దత్తుడు అని అర్థము. దత్తుడు త్రిమూర్తులకు మూలము అని తెలుపుతూ ఈ మూడు వాగుల సంగమము వద్దనే దత్తదేవుని గుడి ఉంటుంది. స్వామివారు రచించిన ఈ పాట అన్ని దైవరూపాలకు మూల విరాట్ రూపమైన దత్తుని పూజించమని భక్తులకు సూచిస్తున్నది. జై శ్రీ దత్తస్వామి. This song is the English translation of the Telugu folk song Prapancha Sarkaroda, composed by His Holiness Shri Datta Swami. The English translation of this song is done by Shri Prakki Surya, who is a scientist at BARC in Mumbai. Cart behind, cart arranged, cart behind, cart arranged, arranging total 16 carts, arranging total 16 carts. Welcome to your temple, welcome to your temple, O Datta, the ruler of the world, O Datta, the ruler of the world. Stream of Bammi, stream of Tummi, stream of Chandra at their confluence. Stream of Bammi, stream of Tummi, stream of Chandra at their confluence. Welcome to your temple, welcome to your temple, O Datta, the ruler of the world, O Datta, the ruler of the world. On the hill of Ettipotala, on hill of Ettipotala, welcome to your temple, welcome to your temple, welcome to your temple, welcome to your temple. This song, composed by His Holiness Shri Datta Swami, is sung in the tune, that is raga, of the Telangana folk song Naizamu Sarkaroda. There is an ancient Dattatreya temple on the hill of Ettipotala. Actually, the name Yati Tapasthala is now known as Ettipotala. Yati means sage. Yati Tapasthala means a place where sages do penance. Shri Datta Swami did penance for Lord Datta by abstaining from food and sleep for 3 days at this Yati Tapasthala. On the 4th day, God Datta appeared and had conversation with Swami. The divine discussion between them has been published as a book titled Shri Datta Guru Bhagavad Gita, written in Sanskrit and then translated to Telugu and English by Shri Datta Swami himself. 3 streams flow from the hill of Ettipotala. The stream of Bammi symbolizes Lord Brahma. The stream of Tummi is a symbol of Lord Vishnu. The stream of Chandra is symbolic of Lord Shiva. Tumma tree is black and so is a symbol of Lord Vishnu. The moon is white and so it symbolizes Lord Shiva. Naizamu Sarkaroda means the ruler of the kingdom of Nizam. Similarly, Prapancha Sarkaroda means the ruler of the world, who is Lord Datta. The temple of God Datta is located at the confluence of these three streams, stating that God Datta is the root of the Trinity or Trimurtis. This song, composed by Swami, indicates the devotees to worship God Datta, who is the root form of all the divine forms. Jai Shri Datta Swami.
धरती पर भक्तों के तुम हो उद्धारक, भक्तों के कष्टों के तुम हो निवारक, जीवों के भरता तुम ही हो मेरे पालक, जगत गढ़ हूँ मैं और तुम जग संचालक।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्ता, त्रिमूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
सृष्टि स्थिति लयकारी तुम दत्ता अवतारी, तुम्हारी लीला स्वामी जग से है न्यारी, काषाय वस्त्रों में दत्त त्रिपुरारी, तुम्हारी महिमा गाए हम सब नर नारी।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्ता, त्रिमूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
त्रिगुणों के मालिक कर त्रिगुणों को धारण, स्वयं ही सिखाए ज्ञान भक्ति समर्पण, तेरे रमणार्थ सदा यत्न निरंतर, तुम्हारी सेवा में ही मैं रहूं सदा तत्पर।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्ता, त्रिमूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
वेदों के कर्ता तुम ही वेदों के रक्षक, तुमसे ही वेदों का अस्तित्व अब तक, वेदों के वचन हो तुम में ही सार्थक, तुम बिन स्वामी है ये जीवन निरर्थक।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्ता, त्रिमूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
प्रज्ञान स्वामी का है मोक्षकारी, नष्ट करे सारे अवगुण हमारे, जितनी भी चाहे हो ईर्ष्या हमारी, फिर भी न छोड़ा हमें बेसहारे।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्ता, त्रिमूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
अहम में डूबे हम मनुष्य सारे, करते तिरस्कार प्रभु का हमारे, प्रेम से प्रभु सहते आरोप सारे, फिर भी हमें स्वामी गले लगावे।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्ता, त्रिमूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
अहम सोया बिन दत्ता को ध्यावे, अत्रि अनसोया वही मानव होवे, अंत समय में जो दत्ता पुकारे, पुत्र समान दत्ता दौड़े आवे।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्ता, त्रिमूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
छोड़े छूटे ना जो बंधन संसारी, बंधन छूटे जो पकड़े प्रीत तुम्हारी, चाहूं ना धन वैभव ना मुक्ति ही प्यारी, तुम्हारी भक्ति स्वामी संपत्ति हमारी।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्ता, त्रिमूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
यथा शक्ति यथा भक्ति चरण आरंभिक, दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्तात्रेय मूर्त्यवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी परिपूर्णतम साक्षात परब्रह्म स्वामी वेदों से परे वेद सार है स्वामी अनूह्य अवतारी अचिंत्य स्वामी मनुष्य अवतारी परब्रह्म स्वामी गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्तात्रेय मूर्त्यवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रिये वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् भक्त्यानन्या श्रीदत्तस्वामिने समर्पयामि श्रीदत्तस्वामिने समर्पयामि श्रीदत्तस्वामिने समर्पयामि
उद्वेगरहिता संतोषरहिता शांति समुद्रा श्री दत्ता शांति समुद्रा श्री दत्ता शांति समुद्रा श्री दत्ता ओम शांति शांति शांति
స్వామి నమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే
पाद नमस्कारम स्वामी
నమస్తే నమస్తే నమస్తే
पाद नमस्कारम
నమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే నమస్తే
స్వామి మీ పాదపద్మాలకు నమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే నమస్తే
पाद नमस्कारम
నమస్తే 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 నమస్తే
पाद नमस्कारम स्वामी
నమస్తే 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 నమస్తే
नमस्कार स्वामी
నమస్తే 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 నమస్తే
पाद
నమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే 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 నమస్తే
నమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే నమస్తే నమస్తే
नमस्कार स्वामी
నమస్తే నమస్తే నమస్తే
नमस्कार
పాద నమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే నమస్తే
नमस्कार
నమస్తే 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 నమస్తే
पाद नमस्कार स्वामी
నమస్తే
पाद नमस्कारम स्वामी जी
నమస్తే
పాద నమస్కారం స్వామీజీ.
నమస్తే నమస్తే
నమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే 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 నమస్తే
पाद नमस्कारम स्वामी
నమస్తే నమస్తే
पाद नमस्कार स्वामी
నమస్తే
पाद नमस्कार स्वामी
నమస్తే నమస్తే
పాద నమస్కారం స్వామీజీ.
నమస్తే నమస్తే
पाद नमस्कार स्वामी
నమస్తే నమస్తే నమస్తే
పాద నమస్కారం స్వామీజీ.
నమస్తే
Is there anyone left to offer pranams to Swami? Pada Namaskaram Swami.
నమస్తే
నమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే
నమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే